All right, let's go ahead and get started. Thanks for coming tonight. This is the annual tax rate levy hearing. You're required to do this before the beginning of October every year, so it's nice tonight. We're going to begin with asking everybody who's here, please sign in. There's a sign-in sheet there. There are materials of what we're going to cover. And I guess I'm not quite sure what we do first here. The presentation or afterward? Later.
I think you need to open it up for a public hearing.
Yeah, all right, so this is formally open to public hearing. If anybody has any questions or comments or statements, we will, as required, have a 15-minute hearing period. Then we'll begin the formal meeting after that and review the levy and vote on it. All right, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. Everyone, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Tonight is as we said, is the tax rate levy hearing. The hearing is just passed. We're going to have the board meeting now. First order of business is the approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Second.
A motion and second. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. The one and only agenda item comes up now, and I think Mr. Rooney is going to lead us through a presentation on the tax rate levy for the 2016-17 school year. We need a motion to adopt the following tax rate levy for the 16-17 school year if, after validation by the Missouri State Auditor, the tax rate ceiling allowed is less or greater than the approved rates. The superintendent is hereby authorized to set the final rates for the district as validated by the State of Missouri Auditor. A motion.
Second.
And a second. Mr. Reed.
Each year, we go through a process of setting our tax rate. And years ago, it was once the voters approved a tax rate, that was just the rate that you had from year to year. But when the Hancock Amendment came into play, what the law now requires us to do is to look at the growth in our assessed valuation, and if it grows more than the consumer price index, we're required to roll back our levy. Conversely, if the levy or if the assessed valuation decreases from year to year, then we roll up the levy. So we constantly have to calculate the levy, and the state auditor's office is the one that oversees that, and they have some forms for us to fill that out, and so that's kind of why we have this hearing each year to kind of describe what happened. The first page on this shows you that there are three things that can happen. Of course, if the assessed valuation goes down, if the assessed valuation goes above the consumer price index or 5%, as I said, the tax rate ceiling goes down. If it stays between 0 and the consumer price index, it stays. It doesn't have, the tax rate ceiling does not change. And if the assessed valuation goes down, the tax rate increases. We're right in the middle. This is a non-reassessment year, so there was very little change. The only increase in assessed valuation is essentially cars and boats and things that people have purchased. The real estate was not reassessed. So, I'm going to go to the next one. So the biggest change that we had in our levy was as a result of some changes in assessed valuation. And so what happens if the assessed valuation changes after the tax rate is established? Well, we go through all these calculations through the state auditor's office, and then they approve the rate. And then we find out that the assessed valuation that we were counting on didn't come through because somebody protested their taxes, and they went through the state tax commission. And it's been taking years for some of those things to be settled. And what happens is then we have to pay that back. And what we do is we go through a recoupment process in order to get that money back on the school district. You want to go to the next one, Dan? So how does recoupment work? The county provides us a list of the valuation reductions that came from the state tax commission. And then what we do is we have to go back to the very first year let's say that this year there were taxes settled all the way back to 2007. We got to go through the tax rate or the auditor's calculations for 2007, restate the assessed valuation, figure out what the tax rate ceiling is, carry that over to 2008, change the assessed valuation, recompute that, go over to 2009, and we got to take it all the way across. And keep in mind that there's so much activity in St. Louis County that we may be on a third or fourth revision of a year, because last year we did the same years for other valuations. So it's a fairly complicated process, but you just keep adjusting the tax rate ceiling based upon what happened for that year for the actual assessed valuation. So once you figure out the amount of lost taxes, then you have the ability to take that lost revenue and spread it out over 3 years. And that's typically what we've done is take 1/3 each year. Okay, you want to go to the next one? So we go through, once we go through the calculations, we send them to the Missouri State Auditor. We add that little sentence that you have in the motion because all of the taxing jurisdictions are sending things into the State Auditor just right before the hearing. And you did actually hear back from the State Auditor, they did approve our tax rate, so that's not going to be applicable, but we weren't sure we'd have it by the time that this meeting occurred. So we'll turn this over to tomorrow. We will send this to the county, and then they'll again send it to the State Auditor, and they'll confirm that they've already done the calculations. Okay, you go to the next one. So what factors impacted the current rate? Again, the assessed valuation, it did increase slightly, about 0.96%. That was not because of real estate, that was because of the personal property, the boats and the cars and those kind of things. You can see that from the 2007 to 2015 tax years, the State Tax Commission settled properties and reduced valuations by $44.3 million for those years. So in order to recoup that, then our levy went up by 6.02 cents. So all of that levy, the levy increase that we have is almost exclusively tied to the fact that the assessed valuation that we thought we had in prior years was settled at a lower amount, and therefore we had to recoup the taxes from prior years. So it's not any kind of a windfall, it's just to recover the amount of lost taxes from prior years.
Is Chrysler still figuring in that, or is that all done?
Yeah, that's all right.
That's all taken care of.
If you want to go to the next one. So this is just kind of a recap then, based on the actual rate, the budget for FY 2017, and then the recommended rate for 2017. The tax rate ceiling was 3.8013. We assumed that would be the same for this year. It did actually change slightly to 3.84. The debt service levy, it's at 68 cents, that remains the same. And then you've got the recoupments, and as I mentioned, each year that you do a recoupment, we spread that out over 3 years. So in 2016, we had a 2015 recoupment, we had a 2014 recoupment of 4.11, and then a 2013 recoupment of 3.57. The third year drops off, and then that new one comes in. At some point when we start, hopefully there will be some point where we stop seeing assessed valuations being settled after we do our tax rate, and it'll tail back off, but the activity is still pretty strong. So I'm not sure that will happen for quite some time. So the total tax rate for FY16 was 4.6015. The recommended rate is 4.6678, which is about a 6.63 cent increase. From a funding perspective, that will increase the operating funds by about $3.4 million. And again, that's because of the erosion that we had in prior years. So it's not any kind of windfall, it's just to catch up on the amounts that have been lost in prior years. Based on a $250,000 home, that's 6.63 cent increase, accounts for about $31.49 additional taxes. Anybody have any questions on that?
The annual change in home cost, is that market value is decreasing by $10.78?
No, what we originally put in the budget is we thought we would have about a 4.788 or 4.5788 rate, and that's it actually is a little larger than that. So if it would have been the 4.7888 or 88, we would have had a reduction. They would have had an actual reduction of $10.
Any other questions?
Did the death of the auditor, did that have any effect on this, or was it smoothest transition?
No, they did have quite a bit of turnover this year. The person that had been doing it had been there for years, and then she left, and then they had a new person who actually did a review of our recoupments. And then before we got our final numbers from the Board of Tax Appeals, then she left and another person replaced her. So it's a difficult job, and a lot of stuff comes in at the last minute. You've got to go through and verify all our calculations.
Is there comments or questions? All right, the motion on the floor is to adopt the tax levy for the 2016-17 school year. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? That passes 5-0. Are there any other topics anybody would like to bring up for tonight's meeting? We do have a board meeting 1 week from tonight, which is a regular scheduled board meeting with all regular agenda. Hearing none, we will adjourn. Thank you.